So, Manchester United are on the verge of signing Casemiro from Real Madrid. In this video, we're going to look at what kind of player he is and what kind of qualities he will bring to the Red Devils. But before we do that, guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and give this video the thumbs up. That's the best way you can support this channel grow. Okay, let's get going. First and foremost, Casemiro is a defensive beast. As you can see, he ranks in the highest, in the top 90th percentile and above in all the top 5 leagues in Europe when it comes to defensive attributes such as tackles, blocks, aerial duels, and clearances. And so he's clearly one of the top defensive assets in world football currently. Now, I would love to also direct your attention towards his pressing stats, which are not impressive, but that's no cause for concern, because the reason why those stats are low is not because he's lazy or because he's not a very good presser, but that's because of the role that he plays. He is what we call an anchor man, and as the word anchor implies, those are players who don't actually venture too far from their position. So literally he stays in that number 6 position right in front of the back four to protect them in that eye of the storm area. So for Zinedine Zidane and Ancelotti at Real Madrid, he played either in a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 diamond. So yeah, he's always been that anchor man behind players like Valverde and Modric and Toni Kroos, etc. And that's definitely that could definitely be an asset for us, because if you look at Fred and McTominay, for example, they try to press. Their pressing stats are higher than Casemiro, but also in doing that, they naively leave a lot of empty spaces that the opposition can exploit in the middle of the park. And so having a player like Casemiro who has that experience and who has that tactical and positional discipline can actually be the antidote to the McFred partnership. There is also a misconception about Casemiro, mainly that he's not a really good ball player or a passer of the ball. It's true, he's not as refined as, let's say, Pirlo or Frankie de Jong, for example, but he's definitely capable when it comes to passing, especially when it comes to long passes. Those are passes of 35 yards and above. In that aspect, he actually ranks in 81% long ball accuracy. 81%. Usually players in the top 5 first division leagues, they actually rank in between 60 to 70% accuracy rates when it comes to long balls. For example, at Real Madrid, Casemiro is first at 81%, followed by Toni Kroos and Modric, who are both at 78 and 79%. That's 2-3 percentage points advantage over them. Two players who can be considered as masters of the craft. So as you can see, Casemiro is not completely useless when it comes to ball distribution, especially long ball distribution. And for Real Madrid, it's been an asset, especially considering the raw speed and pace that players like Rodrigo and especially Vinicius Juniors have. At Manchester United, it could play out the same way, with players like Rashford and Sancho and Elanga, potentially players like Anthony and Gakpo if they end up signing for the club. And so it's refreshing to have a player who, let's face it, since Paul Pogba left the club, we don't have any player in the middle of the park in deep positions who can actually play those long forward progressive balls. And so Casemiro's long ball passing ability can definitely be a great asset for Manchester United. Now, Casemiro is also a big game player. I looked at the stats of Real Madrid's biggest games in the past 6 or 7 years, especially focusing on those Champions League finals that they have won. And I looked at the individual stats of each player in those games. And I realized that in every Champions League final, Casemiro is always in the top 3 or 4 best players on the pitch during those games. And for Real Madrid, take, for example, their final against Liverpool last season. He contributed 9 interceptions and tackles during that game. In fact, the second player on the list was Thiago Alcantara from Liverpool with 6 contributions. Casemiro had 9. And so he's clearly that rock, that foundation, that springboard on which Real Madrid has been building their success. And at Manchester United, we definitely need big game players. Players who are unfazed. They've already done it. Whether we play Liverpool or Manchester City, it's fine. I've beat them with Real Madrid anyway. I know how to handle these players. I know how to handle these situations. I can also add that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could have won some titles at Manchester United had he had a player like Casemiro, you know, a big game player. And so at Manchester United, since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, a lot of our big game players, you know, your Evras, your Ferdinands, Vidic and Carrick and Rooney and Van Persie and all of these players are gone. And in the current Manchester United player, Manchester United team, I just don't see any big game players anymore. I mean, we do have Ronaldo, but he wants to leave and he's at the twilight of his career anyway. So bringing in someone like Casemiro in the dressing room can actually be a huge asset. And on the pitch as well, he can actually help everyone stay calm and keep, you know, nerves of steel as we get through difficult games and difficult patches throughout the season. The 4th point I want to talk about is, of course, how reliable Casemiro is. He's always available. Last season for Real Madrid, he had 31 starts for them in the league. Every time he starts, he plays 90 minutes. Without any doubt. And so he's also a player who doesn't have any history of long-term injuries. He has a few niggles, 1 or 2 weeks, 10 days, like any other player in the world, but he doesn't have any history of long-term injuries. So this is not a case where we're getting a player who is injury prone and we are hoping on. No, this is definitely a player who is reliable. He's been consistent for Real Madrid for the past 7-8 years since they got him from Sao Paulo and he came back from his loan at Porto. And so there is no reason why this trend should not continue at Manchester United. And if that's the case, that would be refreshing with all of the injury niggles that we've been having in the squad, to finally have a player who will always start for Manchester United, will always be the first name on the team sheet. All right, next, of course, is his age. Is Casemiro's age a concern at 30? He's going to be 31 in February. I don't think so. Because of the position he plays, as you remember what I said in the first point that I mentioned about his pressing ability, his game is not built on physicality or on pace or stamina, but rather it is based on discipline when it comes to his positioning, anticipation, reading of the game, spatial awareness. And so there are a lot of players like that, the likes of Sergio Busquets, the likes of Michael Carrick at Manchester United as well, the likes of Pirlo and Modric, for example, who actually, you know, they mature like fine wine. And as they grow old, they actually become better because they become more experienced. Their reading of the game becomes better. Fernandinho, for example, at Manchester City is also a great example. And so Casemiro is no different. I think that if he stays injury-free for Manchester United, his age is not an issue. In fact, we bought a player in his prime. And last season, he's been one of Real Madrid's best players, and there is no reason why he shouldn't be one of our best players now. Well, of course, there's always the specter of Varane and Di Maria, 2 players we got from Real Madrid, and who both of them were world-class at the moment they signed for us, but then they simply did not work out. But I feel that with Casemiro, there is a chance that he's going to be more of a success than both of them. As long as he settles down in that dressing room, him and his family settle in Manchester United, I don't think that age is that much of an issue as far as Casemiro is concerned. One of the main questions that many Manchester United fans are asking is about how can Casemiro help in the build-up play? Of course, we've been targeting Frankie de Jong for that reason. Now that we're moving to Casemiro, who's not really a playmaker, how is that going to work out at Manchester United? Well, I'll tell you. Watching Real Madrid, you see clearly how they build up play. It's actually not through Casemiro, but it's through 2 things. The first one is, of course, David Alaba, the left-sided centre-back, who is actually similar to Lisandro Martinez at Manchester United, and either one of Modric, Valverde, or Toni Kroos, who actually drops deep during the build-up phase to support Casemiro in midfield. And that could also work out at Manchester United. You can have Casemiro on the right-sided defender, maybe Varane or Lindelof or Harry Maguire, and then the left-sided defender being Lisandro Martinez, and then you could have a player like Christian Eriksen, for example, who to me is the leading candidate, or someone like Donny van de Beek or Bruno Fernandes, or maybe another midfielder that we get. I mean, you know, Casemiro was a surprise transfer. Maybe we're going to get another central midfielder, who knows. But anyway, what I'm saying is that you don't have to rely on your defensive midfielder to build up the play. Casemiro is the kind of player who wins the ball and gives it to better players who are better technically. And if that worked very well for the likes of Real Madrid, previously for the likes of Chelsea with players like Makelele, for example, there is no reason that it would not work at Manchester United. I just think that Erik Ten Hag would have to adapt a little bit his playing philosophy and his tactics in order to make the most out of Casemiro. So what do you guys think about this Casemiro transfer? Please let me know in the comment section. For me, the way I would describe my emotions right now, I would say I'm mildly satisfied and intrigued. That means I think that he's a very, very good player. I still do have reservations on the transfer, and I'm just waiting to see what how it happens. Because historically, if you follow the historical patterns, this transfer should not work out based on what happened previously. But I still hope that Erik Ten Hag has been instrumental in picking Casemiro as a viable option for Manchester United, and that he has a plan for him and how he plans to use him. So anyway, exciting time. Let's see what happens. Obviously, he's not going to play against Liverpool because his visa won't be ready by then. But definitely in the next game against Southampton, I think, yeah, we should definitely see him in action. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking notes during that game, following Casemiro's every single move to see how he's adapting to life at Manchester United. So anyway, I'm going to be making videos about our players and how the team evolves throughout the season. So if you don't want to miss those out, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you like the video, please make sure to give it the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. It helps YouTube push it to other viewers, and it helps the channel grow. So thank you all in advance, and cheers.